What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with the second round action here of the FCS playoffs here on NCAA 06, featuring that NCAA Next mod, as we are down to 16 teams competing for the FCS National Championship. It will be cut in half by the time this episode comes to an end, so you better strap up and buckle up here, as we got a great episode on tap. Make sure you smack that like button, hit the subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel, as we jump right into it. First matchup here in the second round of the FCS playoffs, we got the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe taking on the Aztecs of San Diego State, who come in as the #1 overall seed here in the FCS playoffs. But wait a minute, now it's a fumble, and in a game that has not featured any scoring up until this point. Maybe San Diego State can get something going here in this ball game, as they will start this drive on the 50-yard line after the muffed punt. And sure enough, Andy Mosley drops the bag. Trevion Manning is going to get an interception here late in the first quarter. Basically turns into one huge house punt or arm punt, because I mean, you got the punt that gets them to the 50 when it was in their own end zone, and then another throw deep downfield that ends up getting intercepted. So based off of that, they did end up flipping the field, but we are still waiting for some points to be scored here, as the Warhawks, they do have a 3-0 lead here, but been a pretty sloppy game overall, to say the least, as San Diego State, they will end up getting this interception here, and that interception will go ahead and get them at least to tie things up, as we jump right into the fourth quarter. And finally, we see a touchdown. Louisiana Monroe, they will go ahead, they will take the lead. Now we'll go ahead and make it 13-6, but sure enough, on the ensuing kickoff, and this is where things really start to go ahead and get wild here. Ensuing kickoff gets in the hands of Brian Pruitt, and Pruitt, he's going to take it downfield. He's got some space, gets the blocks that he needs, and San Diego State is going to tie things right back up here. Touchdown Aztecs. And with 20 seconds to go, the Aztecs will be able to rally back and take the lead. Only 18 seconds left to play, and for now it looks like they will move on to the quarterfinals, unless on this final play of the game, Louisiana Monroe can get themselves into field goal range and get that timeout called before the clock hits triple zeros. But they're gonna go for it all. It's all or nothing, and it's caught. It's caught. It's caught. Touchdown Warhawks. And Louisiana Monroe is going to walk it off here. This crowd absolutely stunned, as it is not San Diego State that will move on to the quarterfinals. Oh no, it's going to be the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe, that got zero attention during the regular season. I think it just might be time to go ahead and put some respect on their name, as UL Monroe hands San Diego State their first and only loss of the season. Louisiana Monroe moves on to the quarterfinals. So we'll go ahead and see who Louisiana Monroe will go up against. Will it be the Brown Bears of the Ivy League, or will we see Georgia Southern handle their business, as they come in as the #8 overall seed? Now they take on a slight Cinderella in Brown, as they did end up beating Temple rather convincingly in the first round. Matter of fact, it was one of the many surprises that we did end up having in the first round, that was really filled with multiple upsets, to be honest with you guys, as Miniachi, he is going to get things. He's the focal point of this Georgia Southern offense. Really one of the best running backs in the country right now, and if Brown has any chance of winning this game, they're going to have to find a way to stop this option attack. But Ikeda Woods, he can't just run the football, he can go ahead and toss it downfield. And speaking of the devil, Albert Miniachi gonna come down and make that catch there. as they're going to quickly get up to the line of scrimmage, get some inside the 10-yard line, and Ikeda Woods takes care of business there. And Georgia Southern on their opening drive is going to get into the end zone. Touchdown Eagles, as that does go ahead and make it 7-0 early. As now Marcus Patrick, the true freshman, trying to make things happen here. Marcus Patrick is going to answer the bell, as well as that brother is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown Brown. And the champions of the Ivy League are going to draw even here, and it will be knotted up at 7 apiece. We'll see if Brown can do a little bit better stopping Georgia Southern on the second drive, but they're going to give up a huge running play as Albert Miniachi is not going to be got. Mama, there goes that man. Touchdown Eagles. And Georgia Southern gets another touchdown on the board. Really nice blocking there on the outside, and Miniachi able to go ahead and do the rest there. And it turns into a party in the end zone, as Georgia Southern seems like they are going to find it quite a few times in this one, as Ikeda Woods, he's going to get a second rushing touchdown there. So now it puts Brown in a tough spot here. Marcus Patrick, he's going to have to try to make some magic happen, as it's going to, the only way Brown's going to win is going to be in a shootout, it seems like. But William Brown has some other things planned, as Marcus Patrick will be intercepted, and that is going to be returned back to the crib for a touchdown. A playoff game that is quickly getting itself quite out of hand here, as another pitch out to the perimeter to Albert Miniachi. And Miniachi's going to find that end zone for the second time today, as Miniachi gets, he had numbers on the edge and took full advantage. It makes it 35-7, and we are still not at halftime yet, as Ikeda Woods just throws an absolute dot. Look at this throw. There was not a lot of space to make this throw whatsoever. Still able to go ahead and make it happen regardless, though, as Miniachi will finish the drive for Georgia Southern, as it's yet another touchdown for the champions of the SEC, as Georgia Southern now makes it 42-7, and that hole was so wide but naked open. I probably could have ran through there, and I am not by any means an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, as Brown trying to get something going here, trying to make something shake on offense. But besides that long touchdown pass that Marcus Patrick was able to throw in the first quarter, just hasn't really happened for them like that, at least not over the course of this particular game. But they will at least garner one particular stop. But now we go into the second half here. 4 minutes left to play. Marcus Patrick and company, they're down by 35 right now, as Patrick will try to get things going here. He's going to look down the right hand side. It's going to try to throw this football out, and it's caught. It actually does get caught there. An absolutely diving grab, as that ball was actually tipped in the air, but receiver did a great job staying with it. Unfortunately, Brown cannot do anything about it afterwards. The drive ends up stalling out, and Georgia Southern, what is there left to be said? They are just dominating, and they are proving why they are the top 8 seed. A team that came in with some controversy for sure. There was some people in the live chat when the playoff bracket was being revealed. They were not happy with Georgia Southern getting that top 8 seed, but given how they played here today, maybe they deserve a little bit more credit. I don't know. So we go into the next playoff matchup here, as we got Tennessee State, who was able to pull the upset against South Carolina State in the previous episode. They now go and face the number 4 overall seed in this tournament, the Golden Flashes of Kent State, who will now officially start their final push to defend their national champions. They are champions of year number 1, as both teams are going to go ahead and take the field. And let me tell you this, if Tennessee State has any chance of pulling the upset, they are going to have to win that turnover battle. All those turnovers that they had back in the first round matchup, that cannot happen here by any stretch of the imagination. As now we'll go ahead and see Kent State start with the football, as Tyler Williams is actually going to float this one out to Dante Cunningham. And Cunningham is going to get a huge catch right down the sideline that will go ahead and get the Golden Flashes in field goal range. That was a really nice ball that was thrown by Tyler Williams. We'll see if Kent State can finish the drive, though, as Tyler Williams, he froze on a 3rd and goal. And Tyler Williams was able to lace that right in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Golden Flashes. And the defending national champions will strike first. It will go ahead and make it 7-0 early here. So that is going to put a lot of pressure on both Mike Berry and, not to mention, Brock Lawrence, both of which are the focal points in this offense. They're going to have to really perform today if they want to move on to the quarterfinals, because Kent State, they're the defending national champions. They will not go down easily. They clearly came prepared to play today, but that pass will be the only major thing that happens towards the end of the first quarter. As we get with 30 seconds left, as Mike Berry is going to seek the tie. Hang on now, is we going to see a touchdown? No, but that does get the Tigers in their first red zone opportunity of the day. We'll see if Mike Berry can finish it off here, as we got 3rd and goal from the 10-yard line. As Berry, he's going to drop back the pass. He faces pressure. The ball was fumbled. And that was very fortunate that Tennessee State was able to fall on that football. They will have to settle for a field goal, however. After a 3-and-out by Kent State, Mike Berry does trying to give his guys a chance to take the lead here for the very first time in this game, as Mike Berry throws a nice football downfield. And now at least get the Tigers out of the shadow of their own goal line, the black zone, as they call it. As now, Berry, 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. He'll drop back the pass again. He dodges one pressure and gets it out to his tight end, who comes down and makes the catch. Here comes yet another red zone opportunity for the Tigers of Tennessee State. As Tennessee State, they have done a fantastic job this year of scoring in the red zone, 92%. As Berry, dropping back, looks towards the end zone, and it gets caught. Touchdown, Tigers! And Tennessee State is going to take the lead with 2:30 left to play here in this first half, as Berry just does a nice job while running for his life a little bit, keeping his eyes downfield and giving his receiver a chance to make the play. As now 37 seconds left in the first half, Williams gets lit up like a Christmas tree. It brings up 4th down, and it looks like we're actually going into the halftime locker room with a 10-7 lead. Okay, you love to see it. So now we jump into the second half of action here, as Tennessee State, they did kick things off to the defending national champs, so they will actually get the ball to start the second half, and they are going to get Brock Lawrence involved on the ground for the very first time in this game. He's been shut down for the most part, but he does end up getting a really big run there. Although, unfortunately, once again, Tennessee State did have to go ahead and settle for yet another field goal. And look at this, Tyler Williams is actually hurt as well, as the backup comes in. Mike Daniels throws an interception, and Marcus Walters just makes this a 2-possession game. Oh my goodness, we got some drama here. More drama than we anticipated. I thought this game would be a little bit more geared towards Kent State, but that hasn't happened just quite yet. As we'll see this ball kicked off once again. Kent State, they definitely need a big play after the interception for a touchdown, and they are going to get it. There's no flags on the field, and now Kent State, they are right back in this game, but still down by 6. Berry's going to have to keep that scoring up if they want to win this game. Looking downfield, finds his receiver, and Michael Berry just eclipses 3,000 yards of total offense over the course of the year. A very good season for this quarterback representing the Big Ten Conference. as Barry will throw over the left-hand side. Finds his receiver. Double coverage. But it doesn't even matter, though, as Brandon Hampton, he makes his 4th catch of the day. That's now 100 yards receiving for him. And it puts Tennessee State right back in the red zone as they look to add on to this lead. Make it a 2-possession game if they can finish the drive. Barry looks left. Finds Brandon Hampton again. And he's in the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. And Tennessee State now makes it a 2-possession game. And we are starting to run out of football. Only a quarter left to play. Mike Daniels, he's going to really have to come through for this offense. The backup is going to try to run with it here. But Joshua Demps absolutely lets him up like a Christmas tree there. And now we're in the 4th quarter. Daniels needs a big play. Fires! It's rifled! And it's not going to be stopped in time. Touchdown, Kent State. It's back to being just a 1-possession game once again. And one thing that's for certain, if you're taking on the kings of college football down here at the FCS, when you go after the king, you best not miss. As 4th quarter, remember, Tennessee State, they started with a 27-14 lead. But all of a sudden, this punt return could possibly give them the lead. He turns the corner. There is no flags on the field either. And it's a touchdown for Kent State. Despite basically being doubled up in offensive production, the Golden Flashes now, they got the lead. And now Mike Barry's going to have to put together yet another drive in order to try to take the lead right back. But Brock Lawrence, he folds. He's selling right now as Brock Lawrence, he made the catch out of the backfield, trying to make a defender miss, but instead, all he ended up doing was turn that football over. Very, very disappointing to say the least. And now, all of a sudden, Kent State can make it seem like a field goal will not be able to beat them. And now, all of a sudden, it's an 8-point game. Or at least it will be after they do go ahead and kick the extra point, which they do go ahead and do just that. So, not only does Tennessee State need a touchdown, but they also need this 2-point conversion. First, they need to convert this 4th down. This is for the game. Tennessee State doesn't convert, it's over. Barry dropping back. He's going to face some pressure. Dodges one, throws it in the end zone, and it falls to the ground. Kent State, they are actually going to survive as the Golden Flashes, they go and get themselves 21 unanswered points in the 4th quarter. And the Golden Flashes, they will move on to the quarterfinals to late the winner of Eastern Michigan and SMU. For Tennessee State, a tough way to lose this. They were in the position to win. They just forgot about playing football in that 4th quarter. And this collapse will end up costing them their season. So, wow, how about that for some absolute drama and chaos here? And now we'll go ahead and see who the Golden Flashes will play up against in the quarterfinals, as we will check in on this semifinal matchup between Eastern Michigan and the Mustangs of Southern Methodist University. As Eastern Michigan, they are actually just coming off of a shootout victory against higher seeded Southeast Missouri State. They won that game 45-35. But SMU, top 5 team, you know, they look Eastern Carolina in the eye, almost won as well, but that didn't quite happen that way. They also have a great quarterback in Jesse Young. So Brett Tretzel, he's going to have to bring it here in this game. If Eastern Michigan's going to win, and that is not how you want to start. That is not how you want to start whatsoever, as Kevin Brown is going to go ahead and garner the interception here, as Brett Tretzel just kind of telegraphed his throw over to the right-hand side, and the safety was able to read it like a book. So first drive for SMU, which is only the second game play of the entire game so far. Jesse Young starts off with a goal line situation, and he is going to cash in that check. Touchdown, Mustangs! And SMU does make it a 7-0 lead here early as Jesse Young was able to fire that thing into the back of the end zone. And one thing for certain, Jesse Young, bad man, throws it to the left-hand side, gets it out to his receiver again as he recognizes the one-on-one coverage, and that receiver is just too quick for the EMU defense, as Young was able to get it right behind the defender, threw it really only in a spot where his receiver can make the catch, and then the rest turns into a foot race. It is now 14-0 SMU. How about 21-0? Oh my! Somebody get the washing machines out, because that was a hell of a spin cycle. Oh my goodness. Incredible play. The first two were created by Jesse Young throws, but that touchdown, that was all on the wide receiver there, as that was Vince Smith that created that touchdown there. Now 21-0, and we still got 3 more quarters of football left to play here, as Young looking to fire another one, looking for touchdown number 4, and he's going to get it. Jesse Young is absolutely on fire right now, just absolutely torching the defense right now. As now we're getting to the end of this first half here, as Young looking to make it 35-0, but it does end up getting intercepted. Vincent Smith trying to tackle him, or at least try to get him the football, but looks like he injured his elbow, so hopefully his injury does not end up being too terribly serious. We'll have to wait and see if we see the injury report, but Brent Trensell, he's gonna have to get his shit together, and it's not happening. Brent Trensell is actually going to fumble the football. It's his second turnover of the day, and it's just everything's been going right for the Mustangs today. Everything, meanwhile, going wrong for the Eagles as we get into the fourth quarter, unless Eastern Michigan can find some magic in this final quarter. Then it's going to be barbecue chicken, but they will not be going down without a fight, as Brent Trensell finally does end up leading the first touchdown drive of the game, as it does cut it down to 21 points, but they got to find a way to stop Jesse Young, who's going to throw it downfield. He's got a receiver, and it's caught. Touchdown, Mustangs, and firing on all cylinders some more. That will now go ahead and make it 38-10. It's been a dominant affair for the Mustangs, but they're going to go ahead and make this scoreboard look a little bit better for an Eastern Michigan guys. They go ahead, hand it off to the tailback, and, you know, a little bit of a garbage time touchdown, but the result will go ahead and stay the same. And we're going to have a really exciting matchup here in the quarterfinals. I am personally excited for, that matchup to go down, but SMU, we're going to come out on top. They win 41-17. That does end up being the final score. And the Mustangs will move on to the quarterfinals and take on the defending national champions, Kent State University, as they shut down EMU. Only 150 passing yards. A great performance all around for his Conference USA squad. So we continue with these MAC teams fighting to advance in the playoffs, and that's going to continue, as for the third game in a row, this game will feature a MAC squad, as the Central Michigan Chippewas, they're fresh off a 35-13 victory over Ball State. They will now move on, and they will take on the number 2 overall seed here in the FCS playoffs, James Madison University. And they are going to be led by Kenny Raymer, who not only leads the NCAA in passing touchdowns among all FCS quarterbacks, but also he was a Heisman finalist as well. Don't get that twisted. He's a very special player, but Central Michigan is actually going to draw the first blood here, as Wilson able to take the run on the outside, and it's a 75-yard touchdown. James Madison not prepared for the direct snap whatsoever. It does end up giving the Chippewas their first lead of the game. But now we'll see what this James Madison offense can do, coming off of a lanky break there, and he was trying to get it out there to, it looks like Maurice Gray was trying to get that football out to, but instead Kevion Melton is going to actually catch this football off the deflection, and Central Michigan will take over at around the 40-yard line as Watkins, he tries to, go ahead and, try to keep things moving, but James Madison, they will respond with a turnover force on their own. This is a talented young set of kids right here. Keep in mind, #1 recruiting class that James Madison had in year #1. Not surprised that this young talent is stepping up early, but Kenny Raymer can't get the protection that he's looking for as Central Michigan, they do go ahead and send the blitz there, and that will force the Dukes to punt this football away. 5-star punter Kenny Vincent, like I said, actually was a 5-star. Check out the offseason video if you don't believe me, but the 5-star not doing 5-star things as his punt actually leads to a touchdown. He kind of outkicked his punt coverage, and Central Michigan, they are actually going to take control early as Chris Wilson is going to put together yet another run here. Although not a touchdown, still gets the Chippewas in James Madison side of the field, but Marcus Watson, he's going to absolutely get lit up like a Christmas tree right there. That should end the possession for Central Michigan, as now we're looking for Kenny Raymer to go to work. It's been a quiet day for this offense, and that is going to continue as well, simply because we get yet another sack. The Chippewas just being absolutely relentless in terms of attacking this offensive line, while a talented offensive line definitely has some youth to it as well. And while James Madison still looks for its first points of the game still, this defense is going to have a lot of pressure on itself as Watkins, he's going to try to scramble out of the pocket, but he will be dropped in the backfield, and that will eventually stall the drive for the Chippewas of Central Michigan. That they will settle for a field goal, but a 17-0 lead. James Madison in desperate need of getting some points on the board before halftime, and this could help them a little bit. Able to get it out to Maurice Gray, the senior veteran, able to make some space out on the defensive side of the ball, but unfortunately, that drive does also end up stalling out for the Dukes, and it gets worse for them on the other end, as right before we go ahead and jump into the halftime locker room, they get this lucky pass as Anderson simply was just in the right place at the right time, and it's another touchdown for the Chippewas, making it 23-0. They do end up missing the extra point there, and now Kenny Raymer, he's going to have the second half of his life as the Crumb Bucket is going to make a huge play downfield. Maybe this is a spark that this offense needs, as Crumb just got a jump ball there. He was wide open, but Raymer didn't initially see him though. And now, 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. Raymer looking towards the end zone, looking for Henderson, the custom player, and it's going to be broken up there. So now James Madison is going to run it back. 3rd and 10. Raymer dropping, looks to his left, and he's going to get sacked. And they also missed a field goal as well, surprisingly. So James Madison still being shut out to this point, but we get a little bit of luck here as James Madison is going to recover a fumble, as Marcus Watkins' arm was not going forward when he released the football. And finally, James Madison is actually going to be on the board. They do also miss the extra point, however, so still down by 20 points here as Jody Gentry, the 5-star, comes down and makes an incredible play on this football. Oh my goodness. That was absolutely heart-stomping. But it leads to yet another field. No, that actually does not lead to another field goal. They missed the field goal off of that. It's just been a really rough day for the special teams of James Madison. Is it still, a 17-point lead? But it could be just knocked down to 10 as Marcus Watkins is going to be intercepted. And this man is going to be gone like a girl in a country song, as we are going to see a touchdown on the board for the Dukes. And that was much needed. That could have sealed the deal for the Chippewas, but instead, a 10-point game. It's certainly not over yet, but we still need to see this offense wake up. No offensive touchdowns all game today. It has really been, a really bad time to have this kind of a terrible game, unfortunately. This might cost them, especially that interception right there. That could very well make it a 17-point game, and it does. Gets returned to the end zone. Is a touchdown for the Chippewas, as that probably will end up being the dagger in this case. But we'll see what James Madison could do, and what will likely be their final offensive possession of the entire season, as Jody Gentry is going to come down and make the catch. What really killed James Madison, 1 for 13 on third down conversions, and they do make it a little bit better towards the end. They do get a touchdown on literally the last play of the entire game, by the way, but offense just had a really bad day today. Only 1 offensive touchdown to show for it, and that is not going to be enough to move on, as Central Michigan, they shut down the Kenny Raymer, and that's the difference, man. They're going to move on to the quarterfinals, and they will take on the winner of the Idaho-New Hampshire matchup. That we'll see right after we, show the team stats for both squads. Just a really bad day to have a bad day, right? And because of that, James Madison, they're going to be kicked out of the playoffs early. They're going to be knocked out here in the second round, unfortunately. You hate to see it. Now, while we were watching Central Michigan and James Madison's intense battle here in the second round, we had another second round game that was going on at the same time and carry some shock. Idaho, the second lowest seed in the FCS playoffs, they came in as the number 23 seed. We saw them beat Texas Southern in the first round, and they will do the same here against the number 7 overall seeded New Hampshire Wildcats, as Idaho is going to win a close one, 31-38 being that final score, as Patton was just absolutely electric for the Idaho Vandals. 14 catches, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the Cinderella story continues for Idaho, as they will move on to the quarterfinals, where they will take on the 18th seeded Central Michigan Chippewas. So we'll go ahead and see if Buffalo can go ahead and maintain that Cinderella mentality, as they now face up against the number 3 overall seed in the FCS tournament, the Eastern Carolina Pirates, in a big game if that, as Buffalo playing pretty well here in their first FCS playoff appearance, whereas Eastern Carolina, they were bounced from this very round last year after losing in a shootout to Eastern Michigan. And now they're going to be looking for some revenge for sure, as Kevin Simon, watch out for him. He could do some special things for sure, as Buffalo, they're going to try to go ahead and score first here. And wait a minute, they actually are! Buffalo, the Bulls, are going to steamroll their way to the lead. And the Buffalo Bulls are going to go ahead and take a 7-0 lead here early, as the Buffalo Bulls will go ahead and they will strike first against the number 3 team in all of college football. But Ricky McFadden, we all know this, he can be a bad man too. No, it's going to be a halfback toss, and it's fumbled. It's a backward pass, and Buffalo is actually going to go ahead and recover it. How about this for a change of events here? As Buffalo, they have come to play. They need to bring their A game if they want to pull the upset against Eastern Carolina, because Eastern Carolina, they might be off to a slower start right now, but look at this. Another touchdown for the Bulls. Just a perfect throw that was needed. The Cinderella story well intact here down in southern Florida. But now we'll see if the big man, the favorites, can they respond back? And sure enough, Ricky McFadden, he is going to go ahead and throw a absolute dime down the right-hand side. Bars, as that will get Eastern Carolina on the board for the very first time today, making it 14-9 actually. They do miss the extra point, but they also go ahead and they got a safety there. They got a safety as well, which is really interesting. Or no, they got the extra point, but they got the safety. That's how they got to 9 points. I don't do math very well. At least like public math, you know, like without like a calculator or whatnot. But less than 2 minutes left to play in the first half. We still have the exact same score as Hess is going to take the carry. Makes a couple of men miss. And this is a foot race that he will not lose. And he is gone. Touchdown, Eastern Carolina. And the Pirates will take their very first lead of the game. I'll be very interested to see if they do end up going for the 2-point conversion or if they settle for the extra point. Just so that, you know, if a field goal is able to come around, you know, they won't lose the lead for that. And they decided to just go for the extra point, make it a 2-point game. Not that that was going to be the last points that they scored, as Ricky McFadden hands it off in his running game. His running game's able to do the rest of the work as Eastern Carolina, they start to go ahead and pull away here a little bit, despite the fact that they are significantly losing this turnover battle. Up 23-14 at the half. We'll see if they can take care of the football here in the second half. As look at this, Barrett Haston puts the ball on the ground once again, and Buffalo is going to recover. They may not have the same level of talent, but man, are these Buffalo Bulls, they are playing with some heart right now. And they got a chance to go ahead and make this a 1-possession game. As now, no, it's a play action. Looking down the left-hand side, Willie Reed trying to toss it. And it's going to be intercepted. Brandon Coleman is able to track it down. They do not call it a touchback, though, so they're going to be pinned deep in their own territory. But that would have made it a 1-possession game that they just not turn the football over. A very unwise decision, in my opinion. And now the Pirates will take back over, trying to get themselves out of the black zone. And they will do more than that, as Haston, one man left to beat. Can the safety catch him? He cannot. Touchdown, Pirates. And oh my goodness, Eastern Carolina, keep in mind, Buffalo, they had a 2-score lead here. And then ever since that happened, Eastern Carolina, 31 unanswered points. Actually, scratch that. Make that 38 unanswered points that Eastern Carolina has scored since coming down 14-0, as that was the fullback that was actually able to take the carry. I'm sure not the expert out there somewhere is going to be smiling seeing that the fullback is going to get a little bit of love, as Eastern Carolina, they take care of their business, and they will be moving on to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, where they will await what is going to be the final second round matchup that's going to be shown here on the channel tonight, as we will see Tulane and UCF play up next. Winner of that game is going to play this Eastern Carolina squad, who is arguably one of the hottest teams in football right now. So we'll see who goes ahead and gets the pleasure of playing up against Eastern Carolina, as we have a conference matchup here in the second round. The first time that we've seen that here in the second round, at least this season, as the Tulane Green Wave, the team that got the final at-large spot, they will take on another at-large team, Central Florida, who comes in with a top 8 bye, as both teams will go ahead and take the field right now. And you know, in this game, keep an eye on Zach Gilmore. He's the tailback for the Golden Knights. 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns rushing to go with it as well. If he gets loose, it's going to be barbecue chicken in regards to this game, but should be exciting one either way, as the Knights also have one of the best offenses in the country, top 10 in terms of offensive yards per game. As we see, what? Wow, that should have been picked off. Instead, it gets tipped and tips it right to the wide receiver. You know, sometimes it just simply is better to be lucky than it is to be good. That's absolutely crazy. Tyrone Smith got a lucky one for sure. That is a wild. And speaking of Tyrone Smith, we'll see if he can lead yet another touchdown drive downfield, as it's going to go. Hang on now. This receiver, he's going to get loose with it. He might have butter lathered all over him because he's got guys bouncing off his body. And that is going to lead to yet another touchdown for the Knights as UCF extends their lead. They're going to make it 14-0, and Tyrone Smith is going to go ahead and get his second touchdown of the game so far. And that's going to put Nick Carter and this Tulane offense in a tough spot unless their special teams can do something about it. And y'all already know, if I'm showing special teams, in the words of Kevin Hart, it's about to go down. No, it's fumbled. It's fumbled and UCF recovers. Oh no, that's not what you're trying to do right now. You hate to see it. And now Nick Carter down by 20, by the way, trying to make literally anything happen, but that is a big time throw down the field. Gets it out to Brandon Phillips, who unfortunately does injured his foot there. We'll see if he returns for the remainder of this game or not, but still a really big time throw for Nick Carter. And thankfully for Tulane, Brandon Phillips isn't too seriously hurt, just a little foot contusion. He'll be out for the rest of this half, but we'll see him again in the second half, I imagine, as Tulane is trying to work themselves back in this game, as A.J. McGuire is going to come down with the interception. And that could very well help this Green Wave squad get right back in the game. Still a 2-possession battle. As now, 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line. Carter dropping back, looking. He's got a clean pocket, but he's going to... No, it's fumbled! What just happened? Oh my goodness. So we saw an interception that Nick Carter threw, and then the linebacker fumbles the football. And just a lot happening. Just lost for words there. Kind of reminds me of what happened in the SEC championship a couple years ago between SMU, Florida, and Alabama. Man, we're coming with some scatterbrain today, man. But doesn't matter. Tulane can't score anyways because later on in that same drive, they actually fumble it a second time, and this time UCF is not going to fumble that right back to them. So that sucks, but just a rough game for the Green Wave as Nick Carter, he's going to get intercepted. Patrick Daniels is going to be able to take it right back to the crib, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Knights as that extends the lead, makes it 27-9. As the Golden Knights started to pull away. Tulane, they need something to happen on special teams. The only thing that they've done is kind of hold this team back. We'll see if they can do something a little different here. As sure enough, got a broken tackle. Won't need a second broken tackle because no one is going to touch him again. Touchdown, Green Wave. That will help the comeback prospects. It's now just an 11-point game here in the second half. Smith throws it over the middle. Zach Gilmore, he will go ahead and respond with a touchdown of his own. There's that top player for the Knights that I was talking about. A 79-yard touchdown pass is going to make it 34-16. The Knights taking firm control, matter of fact, of this game. As we're now midway through the third quarter now, as Zach Gilmore will get another carry, trying to make one man miss, but it gets absolutely clotheslined. That would be considered a clean hit back in the mid 2000s. If we saw that again in 2022, as this video is being recorded, that probably would have been called a foul. Some kind of targeting penalty. Guy would end up getting ejected for that. But you know, that's the sad part. We get to miss these big hits that we don't necessarily get to see as much today. And I mean, it's better for the game, you know, because players aren't getting injured as much as a result of it. But, you know, you miss those big hits, right? You miss, you know, seeing the big hits, mixtapes without all the flags, right? Just something to think about as someone that grew up watching college football in the mid 2000s. As UCF here, they're going to go ahead and get yet another interception, and it's going to be taken back to the crib. Wow, I did not see this coming. Another touchdown for Pat Daniels. His second turnover forced on the day. And it looks like it's going to be 41-19. Nick Carter in deep trouble as he's trying to make this score look a little bit better for his guys, but it's just not happening today. 4 interceptions that this defense has been able to go ahead and force here today. Not a good look, as it just makes the time a little bit more of an enemy for Tulane. Granted, they will at least get it out to Brandon Phillips one more time. He does get his second receiving touchdown here in the ball game, as Tulane does intend to go for 2. But that being said, though, just no more time left. It's 27-41. Carter trying to lead at least one more drive to, you know, keep the hopes a little bit alive, but that just doesn't happen. Yet another turnover. We have 11 total turnovers. It has to be some kind of NCAA record in terms of most turnovers in a single game by both teams, or at least it has to be up there. But despite it being a really sloppy affair, the Knights of UCF, they take care of business against their conference opponent, and they will take on, ironically, yet another conference opponent in the next episode. They will go and take on Eastern Carolina in the quarterfinals, and that will probably be also the final quarterfinal game that we would see in that next episode as well. They can clean up the turnovers. They got a chance, but Eastern Carolina taking them down, no easy task. So that is going to wrap things up here in regards to this episode. It has been an exciting FCS playoffs. Just in the past couple of episodes, we have started with a field of 24 teams, and it will be narrowed back down to just 8 teams that are left in the FCS playoff field. And next episode, it gets brought down even more, as we'll go ahead and see each of the quarterfinal games here in the FCS playoffs. That will determine which 4 teams will move on to the semifinals. So I hope you guys are excited for this episode, and I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you enjoyed the second round of the FCS playoffs, do me a massive favor. Go ahead, smack that like button for me, and then also hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand spanking new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic, signing off. Hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.